I don't have no sympathy. I'm sadistic. I really don't care. I'll do it and I'll do it again over and over and over.
Welcome back to the Adventurous Egg. Today, we dive into the dark and chilling world of some of the most dangerous criminals to ever exist. These individuals left a trail of terror and horror that still haunts our memories. Buckle up as we explore their heinous deeds and the stories behind their infamous names. John Wayne Gacy, infamously known as the Killer Clown, was a businessman who led a double life. Gacy was well liked in his community, often seen performing as Pogo the Clown at local events. His charm and outward normalcy made his true nature all the more shocking. Gacy lured young men to his home with promises of employment or a magic trick. Once there, he would overpower them, torture them, and eventually murder them. Over a span of 6 years, Gacy killed at least 33 victims. He was finally apprehended in 1978 after a series of investigations led to the discovery of bodies buried beneath his home. Gacy spent 14 years on death row before his execution in 1994. His case remains one of the most disturbing examples of a predator hiding in plain sight. Harold Shipman, Dr. Death. Dr. Harold Shipman, a British physician, earned the chilling nickname Dr. Death for his role in one of the largest medical serial killing cases in history. Operating under the guise of a trusted family doctor, Shipman murdered over 250 of his patients. He administered lethal doses of morphine, masking the signs of his crimes as natural causes. Shipman's actions went undetected for years, until 1998, when a mortuary worker became suspicious due to an unusually high number of cremation requests. The ensuing investigation revealed the horrific extent of Shipman's crimes. He was convicted in 2000 and sentenced to life imprisonment, but the scale of his betrayal of trust continues to shock. H.H. Holmes, the Murder Castle. H.H. Holmes is remembered as one of America's first documented serial killers, infamous for his elaborate murder castle. Holmes built a sprawling hotel in Chicago with a series of secret passages, trapdoors, and soundproof rooms designed for his gruesome activities. He lured victims with the promise of employment or lodging, only to kill them in his specially designed rooms. Holmes confessed to 27 murders, though the true number may have been higher. He was eventually arrested, tried, and executed in 1896. His castle, which was a nightmare of horror, was later demolished. Holmes's chilling legacy is a grim reminder of the potential for evil that can hide behind a facade of normalcy. Paul John Knowles, the Casanova Killer. Paul John Knowles, known as the Casanova Killer, was a charming but ruthless murderer. His killing spree began after a breakup and was marked by his ability to escape custody using his charm and deception. Knowles confessed to 35 murders, targeting both men and women across multiple states. His spree ended when he was shot dead by police following another escape attempt. Knowles' blend of charisma and violence made him a particularly dangerous criminal, demonstrating how outward appearances can be deceiving. Joseph Michael Swango, the Angel of Death. Joseph Michael Swango, dubbed the Angel of Death, was a nurse who used his position to poison patients and colleagues. Swango's preferred method of murder was injecting patients with ant poison, leading to numerous deaths before he was caught. His suspicious behavior, including frequent job changes and a high death rate among his patients, eventually led to his arrest. Swango was tracked down in Saudi Arabia after the FBI launched a manhunt. His case highlights the terrifying reality of trust being betrayed by those we depend on for our health and safety. Pedro Rodrigues Filho, the Brazilian Avenger. Pedro Rodrigues Filho, also known as Pedrinho Matador or Killer Petey, is a Brazilian serial killer with a unique motive. Starting his killing spree at the age of 14, Filho targeted criminals and wrongdoers, including his father's accusers. His spree continued against gang members and thieves, which led to his arrest in 1973. While in prison, Filho killed 47 fellow inmates, further cementing his reputation for violence. His case is notable for his selective killing spree, targeting those he perceived as deserving of his wrath. Jamie Osuna, the Extreme Sadist. Jamie Osuna is one of the most cold-blooded killers on this list, known for his extreme violence and lack of remorse. Osuna's crimes include the brutal murder of his cellmate, which he dismembered and used as macabre trophies. His acts of violence and torture were so severe that he was deemed too dangerous to be housed with other inmates. Osuna's heinous acts highlight a level of sadism that goes beyond conventional understanding of criminal behavior. Grady Franklin Stiles, Lobster Boy. Grady Franklin Stiles, known as Lobster Boy due to his genetic condition that caused claw-like appendages, used his condition to his advantage in a tragic way. Stiles was a circus performer whose life of crime included abusing his family and eventually killing his daughter's fiancé. His reign of terror continued even after being imprisoned, as he continued to intimidate and threaten his family from behind bars. Stiles was eventually killed by a hired neighbor, ending his disturbing legacy. Peter Kürten, the Vampire of Dusseldorf. Peter Kürten, the Vampire of Dusseldorf, was a notorious German serial killer responsible for over 80 crimes, including murder, rape, and cannibalism. Kürten's gruesome acts earned him a place in the annals of criminal history as one of the most grotesque figures of the 20th century. His trial revealed his lack of remorse, and he was executed in 1931. Kürten's legacy is a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity and the terror it can inspire. Jason Barnum, Eyeball Killer. Jason Barnum, known as Eyeball for his intimidating tattoos, was a heroin addict whose criminal activities ranged from car theft to a killing spree in Alaska. His violent spree and subsequent arrest in 2015 led to a 22-year prison sentence. Barnum's case is notable for the violent and chaotic nature of his crimes, contrasted with his eventual expression of remorse. His life of crime underscores the tragic intersection of addiction and violence. Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal. Jeffrey Dahmer, often referred to as the Milwaukee Cannibal, was infamous for his brutal murders and acts of cannibalism. Dahmer lured and killed 17 men, engaging in horrifying acts with their corpses. His crimes included necrophilia and dismemberment, making his case one of the most grotesque in criminal history. Dahmer was sentenced to 16 life terms, but was killed by a fellow inmate shortly after his imprisonment. His case remains a horrifying example of the potential for human depravity. Samuel Little, the most prolific killer. Samuel Little holds the grim title of the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history, with a staggering 93 confirmed murders. Little often preyed on women from disadvantaged backgrounds, exploiting their vulnerability. His reign of terror lasted until his arrest in 2012. Little was sentenced to life imprisonment, but his extensive criminal record and the sheer number of his victims continue to disturb and shock. Michael Fourniret, the Ogre of the Ardennes. Michael Fourniret, alongside his wife Monique, committed horrifying crimes from 1981 to 2003. They kidnapped, sexually abused, and murdered at least 11 young girls. Fourniret's capture came after a victim escaped and provided crucial information leading to his arrest. His crimes, often involving his wife, paint a chilling picture of organized and premeditated violence against the innocent. Alexander Petruskin, the Chessboard Killer. Alexander Petruskin, dubbed the Chessboard Killer, set out to murder 64 people, one for each square on a chessboard. Petruskin managed to kill 60 victims before his arrest in 2006. His case is notable not only for the sheer number of his victims, but also for his boasting about his crimes. Sentenced to life imprisonment, Petruskin's story serves as a stark reminder of the disturbing nature of some serial killers' motivations and methods. Dr. Harold Shipman, Dr. Death. Reiterating Dr. Harold Shipman's case, it's worth noting that his criminal activities are among the most egregious in medical history. Shipman's method of killing was particularly insidious, exploiting his position of trust to murder hundreds of his patients. His case continues to be a benchmark for discussions about medical ethics and the potential for abuse within the healthcare system. Chris Watts, the family man turned monster. Chris Watts shocked the world in 2018 when he murdered his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. Initially, Watts pretended to search for his missing family, creating a facade of concern. However, he eventually confessed to the brutal murders, which led to his life sentence. Watts's case is a chilling reminder of how seemingly normal individuals can harbor dark and violent tendencies. Thank you for joining us on the Adventurous Egg. as we explored the disturbing world of some of the most dangerous criminals to ever exist. If you enjoyed this deep dive into true crime, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for more chilling stories from the dark side of human nature. Until next time, keep exploring the world with us, where the adventure never ends.